And hello, boys and girls. Welcome to today's United Kingdom talk. My name's Chris Reardon. A warm welcome along to you. We haven't managed to find the donkey. You may remember, just a few shows ago, I have now installed my Christmas decorations for the year, and we have the nativity people sitting behind me. We have the three kings, we have the Virgin Mary, we have Joseph, we have the baby Jesus, we have the sheep, but we don't have the donkey. The donkey has still not appeared. Now, I have searched high and low in my house for the said donkey, but it is not anywhere. So, I'm sorry. If you have seen my donkey anywhere, then please email the show and let me know. If you want to join in at any time, please feel free to do so, okay? It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, we are getting closer and closer to that exciting day of meeting family and going to church and seeing family. We've done the seeing family twice now. We're only one lot of family. Only one lot of family. My dear sister and her three lovely children and husband and her mother-in-law. And more importantly than all those, the three lovely dogs. And she's also got cats as well. One of the cats doesn't like me. I don't know what it is. Her name is Peaches. And I keep that cat is actually my niece's cat. Although, when she bought the house with her boyfriend, she didn't take it with her. I don't know why, but my sister's still got that. And Peaches and me do not get on. We don't get on, dear. What is that about? Perhaps Susan, our cat lover, who we'll be hearing from in the show today, knows. Why is it that... And I don't like... And funny thing is, I don't like her either, Susan. I don't like Peaches. Peaches the cat. Not keen on her at all. She's a ginger cat. Why doesn't she like me and why don't I not like her? What's the reason for that? Any ideas? Very strange. I do keep ringing up my sister and suggesting that we eat Peaches for Christmas. I don't know if anyone's got any comments on that at all. It just seems a good idea. Kills two birds with one stone, really, doesn't it? What do you think? How cruel I am, my dears. Well, I've done quite well today. So far, I've managed, although... it's been a little bit of a disaster today. I've had minor disasters and a minor disaster yesterday as well. Now, the minor disaster today was my eyes opened. My eyes suddenly opened and I looked over at the clock. Usually I get up about 10:30 and for some reason it was 12:15 in the afternoon. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that doesn't matter. So what? An extra few minutes in bed. Well, it doesn't matter too much, except that I had set the timer on the... Hello, darling. Come on, then. Come and say hello. Oh, it's the cat. Katie's coming. Come on. Katie. Come on, then. Come on. Come say hello. Don't be shy. Come on. Katie. Can you hear her or not? Katie. Come on. Come on. Do you want to come up on my lap? Say hello. Huh? Come on. Oh, she's right. Oh, I couldn't get her then. Anyway, did you hear her meowing? Yeah, little Katie has come to see me. I'm now allowing her into the rest of the house as well as the kitchen because I'm not quite sure what's happened, but I appear to have become, as I mentioned a show ago, desensitised to the cats. Oh, there you are. Well, come on then. Don't just stand there, darling. Come on. Come on. Do I have to come and get you? Or are you going to sit there talking to yourself all day like I do? Katie, come on. She's standing at the doorway. She won't come in. Come on. What are you shy about, eh? Come on. There you are. Do you want to jump up on your own or shall I pick you up? Come on, up you go. Ah, gotcha. There she is. Katie is here. Yes, go on. Do some more meowing for me because the people can't hear. Go on. Gonna meow? Are you purring? Meow. Do some purring. Come on. Katie! Katie has come to see her daddy. There she is, look. Oh, lovely girl, ain't you? Eh? Now, where you going? Go on, off you go. Yeah, she's been coming in the house recently. For some reason, I appear to have become desensitised to the cats. I've had the most dreadful allergy for years and years, much to the point where I can't really pick up the cats without immediately getting a rash. Now, my guess is I would still get a problem with my eyes if I now rubbed my eyes just after picking her up. But it's most bizarre, really. And once again, Susan, our cat lover, will know the answer to this. She knows all things cats. Don't you, Susan, my darling? There is a cat I love and adore. Peaches at my sister's house. Nope, don't like her, don't get on with her, and she doesn't like me either. Why is that? Who knows? Let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So, got up this morning, of course, and as I say, it wouldn't have been a disaster, really, having a few, well, even 2 extra hours in bed. But unfortunately, I'd set my bread machine timer to finish at 11:15. Well, I didn't get into the kitchen till about 1:45, and I'd completely forgotten about it, you know. And if you've got a bread machine, you will understand what I mean, that as soon as the bread has finished cooking, you must get it out of the tin. Otherwise it sinks, and sure enough, it's sunk. So downstairs at the moment, cooling on the rack. I just want to point out that it's not like the sort of rack that you had in olden times where you actually get tied up to it and stretched. Do you know what? There are... I shouldn't really tell you this. I think, I've heard many times, there are actually clubs and people who like being strung up on racks. It's true. Yes. They attach and they get stuck. I don't know what goes on at these places, dear. I have not worked in those sort of places. What do you think I am? Good Catholic boy here. Chris Reardon. Beg pardon. Don't dirty my name now, boys and girls. So that was disaster number 1. Disaster number 2. Well, I don't know if it's so much of a disaster. I then decided, I watched a bit of telly, had my breakfast. I know at 1 o'clock in the afternoon I had breakfast. And then I thought I'll hoover the house this morning with my new Dyson. So I hoovered the entire house, top to bottom. I hate doing stairs, but I'm not, because it's one of those upright hoovers, and you kind of have to lift the whole hoover up onto the steps as you're going along. Oh, and it's so much effort, but not much longer, because I have asked my sister for Christmas for a handheld Dyson. Oh, yes. Yes, so I'll be able to do that much easier after Christmas. So that may well be... Oh, no, I think I'll probably hoover the stairs one more time before I go on holiday. And then when I come back, I'll have a handheld Dyson. How exciting is that? So that's that part of the day. But I then came up here to upload some photos to my Facebook thing that we took at Belush's on Saturday night. And I'll come to that in a minute. Oh, it's all going on there, dear. Shocking. It was a packed Saturday night there, right? But I'll come on to that in a minute. So I did that, and then I went back into the kitchen, and Tiny had come into the house, and I could smell cat dirt. You know, I thought, oh no, she hasn't had a mess somewhere in the kitchen. And I looked around. I could not find anything anywhere. And I looked on the bottom of my shoes. I looked at it and couldn't find a thing anywhere. But there's this very distinct cat dirt smell, you know? Isn't it awful? Oh, bleh. Oh, it's just dreadful, that cat dirt smell. So I thought it might be the little small bit of carpet that I've got on my front and back doors. So I cleaned that with my carpet spray cleaner, 1000 and whatever it is, 1001 carpet cleaner. Give that a wipe over, and then I sprayed the whole place with air freshener, which I don't often do. I've got a special Christmas festive air freshener, mulled wine. Oh, it's a lovely smell, mulled wine. Although I'm not keen, I don't like mulled wine. Do you like? Oh, it's horrible stuff. Oh, and it's like those herbal teas. I don't know how people can get any enjoyment out of drinking fruit and herbal teas. That's not tea. Tea is normal tea. Herbal teas, oh, vile. A mulled wine is just as bad. It's the most lovely smell, but it tastes... It's just like... it's like a very weak fruit juice, isn't it? Oh, it's horrible stuff. Actually, John at West 5, where I do bingo every Tuesday night. If you ever want to come along to bingo, come and play the game. Now, there's a website for that as well if you want to have a look at the some bingo pictures. Some of them are a couple of years old now, but it doesn't matter. There's some new ones on there as well, or new-ish ones. They're about 6 months old from West 5. Now, Bingay is every Tuesday night at West 5 in Pope's Lane, Ealing. All right, if you ever want to come along to that. Anyway, John, who's the manager there, who I get on with very well, he did some mulled wine for the customers last Tuesday. And as I say, a lovely smell, but awful stuff. Don't like tasting that at all. So I sprayed the kitchen with this mulled wine, but of course, you know, you're only masking the smell with it. I have to open all. If I get a nasty smell in the kitchen, I have to open all the doors and all the windows. I want it out. Get rid of that smell. Anyway, after a few minutes, I noticed this smell come back. So there's only one thing for it. I'm going to have to wash the kitchen floor. Oh, God's sake. So first of all, I washed up, because I had a few from my breakfast things. I washed all my bits and pieces up. And then somehow I picked up one of my large cups that I've had for quite some years, that I have to admit that I did steal from, from a chain that does tea and coffee. I did steal this rather large cup from them years and years ago. Anyway, I picked it up. I must have picked it up, funnily, because I dropped it on my lovely slate stone floor, and of course the thing smashed into 10,000 pieces. So there we are. Problem number 2 this morning: a smashed cup. Don't you hate that? You know, when you break an item of crockery, and it just goes everywhere. Little bits of china all over the floor. Oh, so there we are. Disaster number 2. Disaster number 3 came when I started looking for the dustpan and brush. And I remembered chucking it out a couple of weeks ago because it was broken. The plastic had broken. So disaster number 3, no dustpan and brush. Dear me. So I then had to go to my cupboard and get the broom out, swept it all into a little pile and picked it up carefully. I mean, admittedly, china isn't as bad as glass to pick up, is it? But you can still get rather nasty cuts if you've got some sharp ends and some bits and pieces. I really, you see, what I should have done is got an adult to help me. You know, us young people shouldn't be mucking about with sharp ends and things like that. Innit? Right? Just before I forget, Luke in London is loving... I meant to mention this. He sent me a message on Facebook. He is loving the Christmas decorations on Facebook. So I'm glad you do, Luke. All right. Luke was one of the young lads. He used to come dancing in a place I worked at in central London. It was coming up to 2 years ago now, called Heaven, which has recently been sold to someone else. So there we are. So that was the... So I cleared that up, and that was it. And I thought, right, I'll mop the floor now, because I could just smell it again. You know, the cat dirt. Oh, it's horrible. So I got... I filled up my bucket and put some... What is it? Flash, I think. Again, some sort of berry-flavoured or berry-smelling floor cleaner stuff. Very nice, actually. So I mopped the floor. The way I mop the floor... I don't know about you, but the way I mop the floor... First of all, I make the mop really wet, and I just... like throw it across the floor so that the entire floor is wet. Now, I learnt that. I actually learnt from, I hate to say it, but my father-in-law, when I was married, one of the things he taught me, or he suggested to me, was when you mop a floor, don't wring the mop out really tight and then start mopping it, because what you're doing, you're trying to mop the floor with a dry mop then, aren't you? Well, not dry, but damp. If you just get a really wet mop, not so that it's dripping, but very, very wet, and wipe it across the floor and then leave it for 4 or 5 minutes, and then the water is loosening all the work and it's doing all the work for you. And then after that, all you've got to do is pick it up again with a dry mop. But I do tend to go over it 2 or 3 times. So once that was done, left it for a couple of minutes, then I mopped it up, changed the water, mopped it over again, changed the water, mopped it over again, and that was it. So there we are, nice clean floor. And to be honest, it needed doing. Now, I wouldn't say... my house... I don't think my house is dirty, but I'm lazy with cleaning. I can't be bothered to do it. If it really needs doing, for example, this morning, when I could smell cat stuff, right? If it needs it, then I will do it. But as, you know, lots of people, including my sister, and I'm sure probably you at home, do mop the floor once a day or once every couple of days as a matter of thing. Me, well, when's the last time? Must have been done about a month ago. It does get hoovered though. I have to hoover it because the leaves and that come in from the outside. And I get cat fur everywhere as well. So I do that. But as for mopping it every other day, I've got more things to do than... I mean, I've got to come and talk to you anyway. What would happen if suddenly you turned on your computer or your radio and there was an announcement, I'm sorry, there's no show today from Chris Reardon because he's mopping his kitchen floor? You'd never forgive me, would you? Huh? So there we are. There's been a bit of a disaster today, but it's got better because I'm here now, and now we're having a little chat. I just wish I'd got up a little bit earlier and had a decent loaf of bread. Right now, it is cooling down, and it is bread, but it's a bit more like a brick. It's sitting there waiting to be attached, to be used in the building of a new house somewhere. All right? Now, the cat, as you saw the cat just... there she is. Katie, do you want to come back in? Yeah, you can hear her then. You heard her. Do you want to come in? Come on. Come on, darling. Why don't you come in? You can sit on my lap. She's sitting outside the front door waiting for me to finish. She wants to be picked up and cuddled. I had a lovely time last night. After I got home from work, I was watching, I think it was Merlin. Can you hear her meowing? I was watching... Come on then. Come in, darling. Don't just stand there. Come on. Come on. She won't come in. Isn't she mad? You stay there then, darling. I think she's protecting me because she keeps walking past the door. Aren't they funny? We love them. And I had a very nice night last night. I got in from work about 3 o'clock in the morning. I watched the last episode of Merlin on BBC One, which was fantastic. Did you see it? Because... what happens, this monster comes, and if you get bit by the monster, you die, and there's no cure, apparently. Anyway, so Arthur fought the monster, but he got bit by the monster. Merlin killed the monster with some magic. But Arthur, what Merlin didn't realise, had already been bitten, so Arthur was going to die. Now, the king, who is Arthur's father, and what's his name? Luther? I think it's Luther. Is it Luther? Oh, I'm not sure. Anyway, King Luther is now very upset because Arthur is dying. They take him to make him comfortable because they think he's going to die. Merlin decides to do something about it. Merlin has to go to this lake and see people who deal with old magic and try and save Arthur's life. But the people, it's this woman. Oh, nasty piece of goods. This woman, right, she says, well, yes, we can do that, but we need a life in return. Because if they give back a life without taking another life, then the balance of the world is upset. So if you want Arthur to live, you have to give another life. So Merlin, good friend of Arthur, offers his own life up. Right? She says, okay, then she gives him some special water, and then Merlin has to take it back to Arthur, and they put it in Arthur's mouth, and Arthur becomes alive again. Meantime, Merlin goes to bed, and he thinks he's going to die that night. Well, that night, Merlin's mother comes to see Merlin, and she's got like a pox on her face or something like that, and Merlin realises that it's not him who's going to die, but it's his mother. So he then goes back to the old magic woman by the lake and says, you know, I offered my life, why are you taking my mother's life? And let me think, let me see. And she says it's not as simple as that, or something like that. You don't get to choose or whatever. And it goes on, and it's fantastic. And at the very end, the woman, the nasty woman who does the old magic by the lake, she is the one who is killed. You see? So then the balance of life is restored and everything's fine. And that was the last episode, and it was fantastic. And while I was watching that, Katie was sitting on my lap and she was purring away and being stroked. I don't know where she is now. Katie, where are you? Katie? Can you hear her? Meow. Come here. Come in here, darling. Don't just stand out there on your own. Oh, she is a funny cat. She really is. Such a friendly creature. I've got one very friendly cat, Katie, and one not so friendly cat called Tiny. She's outside at the moment. And then I watched the final of X Factor, which is a pop singing competition here in the UK, and Alexandra won, and it was hilarious. When they said she had won, she collapsed on the stage. And she was so overcome. Good luck to her. Fantastic singer. But it was hilarious because they said she'd won and then she just dropped to the floor on the stage and people had to hold her up. Did you see that? Oh, it was funny. And poor old Dermot O'Leary, I think he had to pick her up off the floor again. Very funny indeed. So that was my night last night. All right. Now, I'm just going to tell you about Belushi's on Saturday and then we'll go on to our emails today. And Belushi's on Saturday, a fantastic night. And we were really worried Saturday because I got there at 10:15 and there were only 10 people in there. I thought, oh my God, we're going to have a bad one tonight. And the only thing is, I think it must have been that everyone was watching the X Factor final because that finished at around about 10:15. And then suddenly at 11 o'clock, a load of people, I mean, really, loads of people came in. And that was good. And we are now at Belushi's. When you kind of take over a place as the DJ on a particular night, it takes a while to build up regular clientele. It's very different from DJing at a holiday place or somewhere like that because the audience are constantly changing. Every week you get like a new lot in. Somewhere like Belushi's, you get new lots in every week, but you're also trying to form a core, like a core of people that come week in, week out. And that is now starting to happen there, and I'm really pleased about that. And I'm starting to make some really good friends there, and there's some lovely people there. There's some lovely people there. Now, I have uploaded a lot of pictures that we've been taking at Belushi's over the last few weeks. And if you're on Facebook, you can find those. Type in Belushi's Hammersmith in the groups section, all right? Belushis, okay? Belushi's Hammersmith. You might have to do apostrophe S at the end. I can't remember now. Belushi's Hammersmith. And there, if you just scroll down and you'll see all the pictures that I've recently uploaded there. And a great bunch of people there. And we had, it's always very nice. We had a Christmas party come in. Now, they weren't actually there for their Christmas party. They had been elsewhere at another pub, had their office Christmas party there. But, right, and I don't want to be blowing my own trumpet here, but they came to us afterwards, or actually before their party finished, because they said it wasn't very good at all. What it was, there was apparently a DJ there who had never done it before, and he hadn't kind of, you know, I'm not going to run him down, not for one moment, because we all have to start. But I gather he was playing techno music and all this business, and this is for like a wide range of ages, and it is a typical mistake for a new DJ to be playing the music that he likes. There is a kind of audience for that, but if you're going to do a techno night, you've got to make sure that the people coming like techno. Me, I'm a kind of all-round DJ, but again, I guess when I first started off, I hadn't learnt the ropes, so to speak, and I was playing music that I liked, and that would have been mid-80s soul. Stuff like Loose Ends, Rufus and Chaka Khan, Ashford and Simpson, Cameo, all that sort of stuff. And I loved 80s soul, mid to late 80s soul, I would call that. All right. And there was a couple of times at places I said, "Oh, we like your soul, but have you got anything else?" And of course, at that point, I was a new JJ. No, I didn't really have anything else. So I think it's something that you have to learn. Unfortunately, last night, excuse me a minute. Last night, this crowd came in who often come to Belushi's, and they said he was playing techno, so we left and we've come here. And of course, I played classics like Bon Jovi goes on down very well there. Some chart stuff, a little bit Beyonce, Katy Perry, I Kissed a Girl, and all that sort of stuff. Just chart stuff that's in the charts, you know. And the other thing is, of course, I always take requests when I'm DJing. And I like to make an announcement. If you've got any requests, please come up and see me. But you see, even then you've got to be sensible. Now, a lot of people, there are a lot of Australians who come in Belushi's bar and they come and ask for Australian bands. Well, the thing is, I mean, all these bands are very good, but here in the UK, they are not known by people here, right? So if I put one of those on, then it's likely you can lose the people who are dancing, and you really don't want to do that. So you've got to be sensible. Yes, take requests, but kind of know... Hang on, where's my slipper gone? Here it is. I lost my slipper then. Take requests, but when they come up and ask for something that's not well known, it really isn't a good idea to put it on. And it's similar, of course, even when you get well-known artists, say, for example, Britney Spears, right? People will come up, I don't know if they're trying to be clever or what, but they'll come up and ask for, "Oh, can I have," and they'll ask for Britney Spears' record that's on an album but was never released as a single, and not many people will have heard it. And it's always a mistake to put on a tune, certainly after from the middle of the night to the end of the night. You don't want to be putting on anything new. Okay, if you want to put some new stuff on, do it right at the beginning of the evening. Say you start at 10. Okay, between 10 and 11, play some of your new stuff, all right? Do it then. But don't be playing it. Don't throw in something new at, shall we say, 12:30 at night, in the middle of all this known stuff. So you could be playing, for example, Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, Prince, 1999, Britney Spears, Baby One More Time, or some chart stuff. There's a very good track by Dizzy Rascal at the moment, which I love that track, the latest one from Dizzy Rascal. But don't play that, and then suddenly play something by The Presets here in the UK, because, and I'll tell you why, it's all very well, I'm sure anyone in Australia will know, "Oh, we know The Presets." Well, we don't, you see. So, of course, if you're in Australia, you might get away with it, but you won't get away with it here, and you put it on, and that's it, you clear that dance floor. You can't do it. So a little tip there for anyone who's thinking of starting to become a DJ, or any young DJs who haven't been doing it long and are wondering why sometimes it's so hard to get people dancing. You could be playing the wrong music. It's a bit difficult, really, because on one side you're listening to what people are asking for the requests. On the other side, you can't play every request that is asked because other people won't know it. And I think, really, that only comes with time. You get to know in your head that actually someone coming up and asking for Prince 1999, if someone asks for that, oh yeah, that one will work. Hundreds of people will know that tune. But if someone comes up and asks for Baz and Positive Reaction, and you think, no one knows that one, so don't put it on. Don't take the risk. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just play for what the crowd wants. Anyway, so we had a fantastic day. So about 11 o'clock, they all walked in. So they must have been... oh, well, they were at the other party, weren't they? That's what I just said to you. They were at the other party. They came into me and I said, oh, it was dreadful. We hated it, so we've come here because we knew there'd be a good DJ. And, you know, when someone comes and says that to a DJ, that's a lovely thing to say. And it really does boost your morale. Especially if it's been a bit quiet up to that point. Suddenly, a load of people come in and say that. So that's nice. And, yeah, we got a core of people now that come Saturday. And there's a couple of really gorgeous... Of course, they're all straight, you know. No chance for me here. Nothing for me at all. All these straight boys coming. I don't know what it is, but straight lads look better looking than gay lads. Why is that? Is it because I know I can't have any of them? Is that what it is? Anyway, there's one that comes in. His name is Joe. And he's got the most lovely girlfriend. And she's lovely shape and everything else. And beautiful girl. I can't remember her name. And she comes in. And her mum comes in as well. And I think her sister. It might be a couple of sisters she's got. But and Joe, he comes up. And he was a bit nervous of me at first. But he now comes up and gives me a kiss on the cheek. Joe, straight boy. And he is gorgeous, gorgeous. So he comes in. With his girlfriend. But, you know, it was dreadful, really. Dreadful, really. Because I noticed that he's, like, dancing with his girlfriend. Every time his girlfriend goes off either to the toilet or to the bar, or she pops out the front of the pub for a cigarette or whatever, every time she disappears... all the other girls move in on Joe. Now, Joe doesn't do anything. Don't get me wrong here. He's not playing. He's not doing naughty things here or anything like that. But I noticed every time she did, these other girls must wait for her to be out of the way. And then they all gather around him. I watched it with my own eyes. Unbelievable, isn't it, eh? Oh, that's shocking, that is. Absolutely shocking. Mind you, a lot of people, they've got no qualms at all, have they? I always remember about 15 years ago, I was going out with a guy called Ronnie, his name was. And he'd be standing next to me while I was working or something like that. And people knew he was with me, but they would still come up and try and chat him up while I was standing next to him. And you could see it. You know, I don't know what it is. It's a certain look. And you know people are coming up and trying to chat him up. And, like, people would be writing down notes. And I would see them. I would actually see them writing down little notes. And then they'd look at me and then wait until they thought I wasn't looking. And then hand him their phone number. Unbelievable, isn't it? I would never do that. I just couldn't do it. If you know someone is with someone else, you don't, do you? But these girls last night, and they were coming on to him. Big time. I was watching it. But he was like batting them away because he's like, loves his girlfriend and all that. And they're a lovely couple they are. Really nice couple. And there was another young lad in there last night. I can't remember his name now. He's been in a couple of times. And he always asks for a song by Robin S. called Show Me Love. And he asks for an announcement to be made for Fats and someone else. Fats was the nickname for one of his friend, and someone else who were killed when their car ploughed into it. Oh, I got itchy nose now. Is that someone talking about me? Oh, itch. That's better. Apparently, two of his friends died in a car crash when their car ploughed into a tree just on the Barnes Bridge, which is all very sad. But isn't it's nice, isn't it, that he remembers that and then asks for a record to be played for them every time he's in there. So that's nice. So he was in there with his girlfriend. And again, he's, how old is he? He's 20 and he's got this girlfriend. And again, every time his girlfriend disappeared, other girls were gathering round thinking they could have a pop as well. I can't believe it. You've got to see it to believe it. I don't know if it's me standing there that I can see everything that's going on around me. Absolutely everything that's going on around me in there. So there we are. But a great night at Belushi's. My God, they didn't half drop a load of glasses last night. What it is, and I know what it is, in the corner of the venue is a bass speaker. right, which is quite large, and it sits on the floor. Well, of course, people put their drinks on it, and it's not long before the bass shakes these drinks, and gradually you watch these glasses move, and they just fall off the speaker onto the floor and smash again. I mean, the manager, Robbie, is always very pleased when that happens, because it means they just go to the bar and buy another drink, you know. Terrible. So there we are, lovely time at Group Lucius. Although I was rather disappointed, this girl would not go away. She kept coming up, and she had fluttering eyes, you know what I mean? I could tell she was chatting me up. And her breath stank of vodka. Oh, it was dreadful. Every time she'd go, oh! I mean, thank God that you're not allowed to smoke in there anymore, because if anyone had lit a lighter while she was talking to me, the whole place would have gone up. Oh, it was awful. And while she was talking to me, her head kept coming closer. She was a big girl, and her head kept coming closer to me. And she must have been half of my age, easy, if not more. I would say she was about 21, and she would not leave me alone. She kept coming over. She thought she was going to get a kiss. She ain't going to get a kiss, I'm afraid. It is not going to happen, dear. So that was that. And then I got up out of the little DJ area to talk to Joe, to tell him that this girl kept coming over to talk to me. And then some other woman, well, it was actually Joe's girlfriend's mum, she suddenly grabbed my bum. She pinched, which wasn't a pinch, it was a real grab. She grabbed my bum. What was going on? I don't know what was wrong with those girls last night. They must have all been on heat. That's all I can think, dear. It was terrible. Grabbing all over the place. In the end, I went back behind my table and I put 2 chairs each side so that people couldn't get to me. There we are. And then near the end of the night, for some reason, Joe decided that he wanted his picture taken with me sitting on his knee. Hey! So there's a result. There's a result. And then off he went with his girlfriend back to their house. So that was it. Okay, let's do some emails. Kate in North Wales. I was just having a little look at your card that you sent me again, Kate, who listens on Sky Satellite on channel 0195. She's in North Wales, and I've just checking your address because I'm hoping to get well, I actually no, the picture is done. Okay, you might actually have it by now. Okay, Kate, I'm sorry it took a couple of weeks there, my darling, but you should have that now. You live in a place called Mulled. Is that right? Mulled, M-O-L-D. Mulled. It's an unusual name for a place. I've just finished clearing on the last show. You might have heard me talking. I managed to clear the mould off the bottom of the window. Yeah, it had been there for quite some time. See, probably that's what the asthma problem is. It's not the cats at all. I don't know where she is now. Listen, can we hear her, Katie? Should I call her? Katie! Katie! There she is, there she is. Come on, Katie. Come in here, darling. Isn't she funny? I think she's camera shy. Or she doesn't want her voice on the radio. She's probably one of these cats who has to be paid for everything, you dear. You know, she won't do it for nothing. Right, here we go. Email time, boys and girls. The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I'm hoping to have time to sing as well on the show today. Yes! A little Christmas song. Because James Dean of matineeshow.co.uk, he's looking for the bit of paper now where I wrote these things down. Oh, it's not here. James Dean, who seems to have taken on position as musical director. Oh, I've got some other news. I nearly forgot to tell you. I'm so excited. I have been asked to be in a radio pantomime. Yes, I am so excited. James Dean is arranging this whole thing. Madame Aries is in it. There's Scott, who was on the X Factor. Nikki French. Mark Andrews. Andy Hoyle. And we are all going to be in a radio pantomime. And they have asked me to be in it. Well, I mean, maybe I shouldn't be so surprised. I'm not surprised that they probably wanted a bigger celebrity to be in it. So I'm going to be in it. I mean, you know, they've got sort of celebrities. They've got Nikki French and Scott from X Factor. Mark Andrews, as I say. Andy Holt, all like that. I mean, they are celebrities, but they haven't got a star, and they wanted a star, so they've asked me How fantastic is that? There we are, and I'm pleased to accept being in your pantomime. And it gets better, right? Because James Dean's just got to sort out the final details. But I think we are going to be able to actually play the pantomime out on this show. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. That will probably be in our Christmas special. Fingers crossed. We haven't had the go-ahead to that because it's not actually... the pantomime will actually be attached to another radio station, so they have to give permission for me to be able to play it out on my particular show. But I really, really hope that happens, and that's something. I'm so excited! I'm going to be in a radio pantomime. They haven't told me what part I'm going to be yet, though. I am hoping to sing a song in it. Oh yes. But I will be refusing. I'm not going to be I wonder if it's a nativity type thing. I don't know what it's like at all. Maybe I'm going to be the Virgin Mary or Joseph or even the baby Jesus. Maybe I could be the sheep or the donkey. Perhaps I should ring up James Dean immediately and ask him if it's possible that my two cats can be in it as well. Get rid of the donkey and the sheep and let's have the cats. I've no idea. Is it a nativity thing or anything like that? So I'm going to be in that. And James Dean seems to have taken it upon himself to become my musical director. And he said on the phone the other day that I must get the words correct on mistletoe and wine. So I'm hoping by the end of the show I might have time to sing that. I might not. So we'll have to see where we go from that. All right. Right then, off we go. Email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Let's say hello to Matty in Australia, Tasmania, who said, hello, greetings, Earthlings. Hello, Chris. Would you ever want to travel to outer space in a space rocket? Would it be scary? There could be another alien type of Chris Reardon out there. This is Planet BC. Planet BC? What do you mean by that, Planet BC? This is Planet BC, you know. Don't get that, Matty. What does that mean? Planet BC. Don't understand that. But travel in a space rocket. Oh. You see, I would love to meet an alien and get in a spaceship with him and go and see his world or her world or its world. I would love that. To be just walking along one day and an alien ship lands in front of me, an alien comes up and says, do you want to come and see our world? I would love it. I would absolutely love that. But would I get in one... I don't think I'd like to get in one of those space rockets they use at the moment to go up there. They never come across as looking very safe to me. Tiny little bits of metal, and of course there was the terrible accident a few years ago, wasn't there, when the rocket just exploded? Do you remember that? Oh, that was terrible. But I don't think I'd like to go in one of the space rockets they have now. No, certainly not. But I would like to. Love to go to an alien world and see how they live and what they eat and everything else. Matty says, do you know a song called Mr. Salmon? He says, I like it. I will try and know some of the words. Mr. Salmon, bring me a drink. La 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 da da. Mr. Salmon, bring me a drink. You don't mean Mr. Sandman, do you? Mr. Sandman, da 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 da, da 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 da. Is it that one you mean? I don't know the one you mean, Matty. Sorry, mate. Matty also writes on the subject of... Oh, yes. He says, on the subject of Christmas, me and my friend used to sneak up in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve and snoop around the presents. Oh, I used to do that. I did that a couple of times. Because I was so interested and excited to see what I'd got. I think one year I'd got a train model set that you had to build, and you got this fake green grass stuff and what have you. It was good. Yeah, that was I think that was probably my favourite ever Christmas present as well. My electric train set. Yes. Oh, I loved it. I had a Hornby electric train set. I loved it. That was my favourite. And the smell. You know the smell when you take the cellophane wrapper off and... it's just... That smell is in my memory now. I can actually smell it. Isn't that funny? He says... It was good. I also used to sneak up in the middle of the night and played my Sega games console when I was a kid. My mum and dad always told me to go off to bed. Well, I mean, he says, I didn't listen. I wanted to play with my games. Yes, you naughty boy. The thing is, Matty, quite often you write into me and you tell me how old I am and how young you are, right? I hate to break this to you, my friend, but 27 is not young. Okay? Young is below 21. Once you go over that, you're old. So actually, Matty, you're old as well. And you do constantly send in little emails reminding me how old I am and my grey hair and this, that and the other. Matty, you're old too, my friend. Okay? You were young, but now you're old. So you're in the same boat as all of us. So no need to go on about it, is there? Ha-ha! There you go. 27 is not young. It's old. And that's it. On the subject of waiting in supermarkets, Matty says, I don't like it when you have to wait in queues. Here in Australia, there are a few supermarkets like Coles. I went into the Coles in Cairns, Port Douglas. Oh, it's very posh there, Matty. Even I couldn't afford to live there. Port Douglas. Beautiful place. And at Coles and Woolworths, that you wait in line, there are a few cash registers open and some are closed. This also bugs me, my friend. I am impatient. Well, we know that, dear. We know how impatient you are with your life. God's sake. I can't... Well, I mean, you've got to be... Well, you haven't got to be patient to be old anymore, though, Matty, have you? Because you are. 27 is very old. Not as old as me, yes. But you're still very old. Remember that. Okay? All those emails you got sending me, telling me about me grey hairs and how old I am. You too are old. So, no. He says... He says, I can't even wait for a minute. And I look at my watch at the same time. So it does really happen here in Australia too. And some of the workers do other things than they should be serving the customers. We know about that. It won't be our problem if they start losing customers. It's the manager's problem that she or he didn't fix the customers first. Well, yes, I mean, Sainsbury's up the road. They lost a sale the other day to me. Because I put my basket down and I walked out the shop because I got fed up waiting. So they lost me as a customer. Does it bother them? Well, I don't know about that. But there's something very nice about putting your basket down and walking up, knowing that you've deprived that shop of a few of your pounds. There's something quite nice about that. He says not just supermarkets, it can be in other places as well, like banks. They always have a few tellers open, that's cashiers. And there could be about 15 people waiting in the line. Oh, the post office is the worst for that. We've got the post office I go to here in Birch Hill. It's just down the road. There's usually a couple of people there, but one of them, there's a middle-aged guy in there, who was about 50, with a bald head and glasses. And he is the most miserable git in the world. He really is. He is so miserable. He doesn't look up. You give him the thing, you pass it on, and he writes down, he's a miserable so-and-so. Have you got... Anyone else got post office staff like that? Miserable. If you don't want the job, go and let someone else do it. For God's sake, smile at the customers, you miserable, miserable fool. You don't see me sitting here miserable, do you? Look at me. Happy and beaming and smiling all the time. Yes. So there we are. Thank you, Matty. All right. Oh, look who it is. It's Robert from Iceland. Well, it's not Robert, actually. This is a letter that had arrived from the Elves. And there is a picture of one of Robert's elves. Dear Chris, We, the Elves, and I were most pleased to be mentioned on United Kingdom talk show. However, two of my little helpers did not like being regarded as having some kind of mental problem. No, not the Elves. I didn't mean the Elves, I meant you, Robert. You are the one with the mental problem. Like me, I have a mental problem. But I vent it here on this show. So they have come out of the closet, or, in the case, from under the stairs, to show themselves to the world. And he does indeed send me pictures of a couple of elves that have come out of his stairs to say hello to the world. He says, "Ah, 'tis true. And who told you I hear voices?" He says, "I hear voices. Money, 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 money. Ha ha, all mine, mine, mine. I have other friends, you know," he says. "Oh, yes, I do. They work in the treacle mines in Cornwall. You know. Oh, yes, very indeedy. Ta-ta, time for my medicine now. Bob the Viking." This is Bob in Iceland, who apparently is still holding on to a lot of our English money. He won't let it go. It's actually Bob, the person. It's no one else in Ireland. It's not the politicians or any of the other people of the inhabitants of Iceland. It is Bob, the Viking. He is the one with all our money, and he won't give it back. And he's got elves living under his stairs. It's all very worrying. It really is. Hello to Doug in Akeley, USA, not Canada, USA, who is enjoying our little Christmas opening and closing sequence. And he says, "I loved Susan's story about the plate she stole." Had that big smile on my face again. Thank you, Doug. Nice to hear from you. And a message via Facebook from Lee Mills. Hello, Lee. Who says, "The Christmas tree here is dying for it to fall over." Don't be so cruel. My Christmas tree is not going to fall over. All right, Doug? Now, let me see. What are we going now? Right, Susan, I've got a few very nice emails from Susan. And I'm going to start off. I don't think I'll have time for all of them. Certainly, I will not have time for all of them. We'll get one in, I think. But first of all, I want to sing you a little Christmas song. Now, we're singing this especially for James Dean of matineeshow.co.uk because he has decided to become my musical director and is insisting I learn the words properly to this. And so, James Dean, specially for you, here comes Chris Reardon's version of my favourite Christmas song of all time, Mistletoe and Wine. We love it! Here we go. The child is a king, the carolers sing. The old has passed, there's a new beginning. Dreams of Santa, dreams of snow. Fingers numb, faces all aglow. It's Christmas time, mistletoe and wine. Children singing Christian rhyme, with logs on the fire and gifts on the tree. A time to rejoice in the good that we see. A time for living, a time for believing, a time for trusting and not deceiving. Love and laughter and joy ever after. As for the taking, just follow the master. Christmas time, mistletoe and wine. Children singing Christian rhyme, with logs on the fire and gifts on the tree. A time to rejoice in the good that we see. Silent night, holy night. A time for giving, a time for getting, a time for forgiving and not forgetting. Christmas is love, Christmas is peace, a time for hating and fighting to cease. Christmas time, mistletoe and wine, children singing Christian rhyme, with logs on the fire and gifts on the tree. A time to rejoice in the good that we see. Christmas time, mistletoe and wine, children singing Christian rhyme, with logs on the fire and gifts on the tree. A time to rejoice in the good that we see. Christmas time, mistletoe and wine, children singing Christian rhyme, with logs on the fire and gifts on the tree. A time to rejoice in the good that we see. Silent night, holy night,
time to rejoice in the good that we see.
There we are. All right. There you are, James Dean. James, I know everything, Dean. And that's it. My God, Susan, I've got 3 long emails here from Susan that she sent in over a week ago now. I'll put them on the next show for you. All right, Susan, thank you so much for joining me today. I've had an absolute ball with you today. Do join me on my next show. Don't forget the main United Kingdom Talk website, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, and the email address chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye now.